Hello Anderson family, my name is Brad Phillips. I'm here with Puppy Steps Training, and we're going to be doing Mabel's demonstration today. We are excited to send her to you. Mabel really is just a sweetheart. I think you're going to be thrilled with her and to get her home. So we are going to go through all 5 phases of our program through this. We'll start with socialization, then we'll run through our manners, our obedience commands, the house training, leash training. Before we get to that, of course, just a couple things to talk to you about with Mabel. Now, she is almost 6 months old, so she's a little bit older than most of our puppies, but she has really done phenomenally. She is a dog that does have to learn to respect you. You're going to have to establish that leadership role, and we'll talk about that throughout the demo. But really, if you establish that leadership role, she is just amazing. We've all loved having her here, and so just in order to really establish that leadership role, one of the important things that you're going to do is be consistent. Be consistent with rewarding her when it comes down to that, as well as correcting her when she needs that. And so the rewards, we use food, we use toys, we use compassion. Those are our 3 types of rewards that we use. And now anytime she does something right, we do use the word okay. That is our marker and our release word. So it marks correct behavior, releases from a stay. And we basically taught her that anytime that okay word is used at the end of a command, something positive is going to happen. And so be consistent in giving her that reward. She's very motivated by food. She's also very motivated by compassion and toys. And so you really can't go wrong with one or the other. But just remember that food is just a huge driving force for a dog. Now the correction, we use no or nope. And I treat those basically like a misdemeanor felony type of deal. Regardless if she does something wrong, there is going to be some type of correction. Now, her behavior determines how severe the correction is going to be. And so if she simply breaks a stay, I'm going to tell her no, and I'm going to take her back to the exact same spot and have her do it again. It's always important that when you're working on commands, you always end with the correct behavior. Now, if she did something more serious, maybe she jumped up on me, or she tried to steal food out of my hand, I'm going to give her a lot firmer of a no. And I do that by adjusting my voice fluctuation and my body language. We do use one type of other correction, which is a leash correction, and all that is 2 pops on the leash. You're not trying to really pull her backwards, but it's more so to make your presence known and get her attention. Now, one more thing before we get her out. The transition is often stressful on a dog, and so this transition period usually takes about 2 weeks. Sometimes it can be as much as 4 weeks. And it takes that long for a dog to feel comfortable in their new environment. Even if they don't show it, you can tell that for the first couple weeks they are going to be stressed. With that stress comes, she's going to have to go to the bathroom more frequently, she may get loose stools, or she might just try and hide out in her crate. Now, it's important that you be patient with her, especially over the first couple days. And that's why we ask that you don't stress the commands too much. Have her do it, work with her a little bit, establish that leadership role, but don't push her to the same standard that we have set for her right now. The one thing, though, is you are going to expect the manners. Make sure that she's not jumping up, that she's not breaking through the doorways, some of those things that we're going to go over, but you can really enforce those, but don't push her too hard on these really lengthy stays and these high expectations. But she really is a wonderful dog, and we are excited to send her to you. But with that, we are going to move into the bulk of our training. I'm going to talk about socialization just for a second, and then we'll get her out with the manners. So socialization is definitely the most important thing to me. Getting that early socialization is going to help your dog not have timid issues or have anxiety or aggression, things like that. And so during that socialization time, we make sure that we expose them to just new situations, new environments, sounds, animals, people, places, just as many new situations as we can, but we do so in a controlled environment, making sure that they are comfortable and that we can ease into those uncomfortable situations and make sure that she's not going to have a negative response. Also making sure that when those high distractions happen, that we keep her engaged in us, and it's more positive to pay attention to you or to me versus the things going on around. And so we also incorporate that socialization into our training program, making sure that we're doing commands in new places or around different animals or different textures, things of that sort. And that way, she's going to perform when you ask her and not depending on the area or the situation you're in. So now I am going to let her out with our manners. And the first manner we are going to cover is her gait and her doorways. And so anytime I let her out of the crate, or we go through a gate outside or through the house door, I expect her to hold a stay. This stay should be an automatic behavior. I shouldn't have to ask her to stay. I just expect it. Now, if she were to try and break, I might simply close the door, maybe lift up my leg and block her, tell her no. It wouldn't be unless she was really persistent on pushing her way out that I would actually tell her to stay. So I will open the crate now and let her out. Okay, good girl, good girl. And so, okay, of course, releasing her from that stay. Now I will show you the house door when we go outside. But we are going to continue with the manners. And so her next behavior, her next manner is actually what she just did. And I'll show you that again, but it is her greeting. Mabel, come here. Anytime I call her to me, I'm not going to give her any attention until she's sitting. Good girl. It gets her planted, it gets her eye contact, she's waiting for a further command, but you know that she's focused on you if you have that eye contact. Come here. Now I'm going to slip on a leash because I do like to have them drag a leash on for the first little bit. Here, Mabel. Good girl, good girl. So she does have her quirk where she likes to paw at your hand. She's just looking for food, looking for attention. My dog has the same quirk. It's just one of those behavior things. However, with that, she's never allowed to put her paws up on me. She's never allowed to jump. Come here. Expect that greeting anytime she comes up to you, call her to you, to meet you. Expect that stay, or I mean that sit. Good girl, good girl. Now her mealtime manners. I'm going to give her just a little bit of food right here. She does love her food, and so anytime I feed her, I expect her to hold a sit stay. Stay. Now during this time we really work on what we call the 3 Ds, and that's distance, duration, and distraction. And so, time, lengthening the time that she has to stay, lengthening the space between her and the food bowl, whether that be further away or getting closer. And of course distraction. Talking is a huge distraction, adding different things around. Okay, good girl. Now, I do like to make sure that she's not going to be aggressive towards me. And so whether I take her food bullet or I handle her while she's eating, every once in a while I even like to go and I'll throw a treat in as well, just making that even more positive with me being around her. Just making sure there's no food aggression. Good girl. Now her meals, I do feed her twice a day. I give her a cup and a half morning and night. In the morning, usually I'll feed her about 7:30 in the morning, and then at 6 o'clock at night. Now the nighttime feeding is the most important. I like to make sure that I give her 4 hours after she eats to use the bathroom, clear out her system before I put her in the crate. So that's the reason for that time frame. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Now, a couple of our other manners that we teach them. We'll talk about jumping, because you can see that when she first came out, she's real excited, kind of rearing up. We try and really correct that. She knows that she's never allowed to put her paws on me, as well as she's never allowed to jump up on the couch or on a chair, or anything like that. And so we teach her the command off, and anytime she jumps up, I'll tell her off, and I expect her to get down. Now, it's important that if she's going to jump up on a person, say it's one of you or one of your kids, it's important that you never step backwards. As soon as you step backwards, you're basically encouraging that jump. And so instead, you always want to step into their space. That way you're restricting it, and so a lot of times they're not going to jump because you throw off their timing, as well as if they do jump, I'm going to bring up my knee and block them. and that way she's not being able to get to me, as well as it's if you do end up flipping her onto her back, that really shows her that you are the boss, you're in charge. And so just anytime that she tries to jump, remember off, whether that's on you or onto something else. With that, if she decides that she wants to jump on someone in your family, sometimes dogs with this pack mentality, they'll kind of think that one member of the family is below them in the rankings, and so that's the person that they may try and jump on. If that happens, what I like to do is I'll take her by the leash and I'll have that person call her over to her, or to them, and if she were to jump, I'd give her a quick leash correction, which is just 2 taps on the leash, tell her off, and I'll turn around and walk away, so she does not get to even greet that person at all. And I'll do that 3, 4, however many times it takes for her just to walk up and sit down. And as soon as she sits down, you're going to make it really positive, go down, pet her. That person needs to love on her and make it very rewarding. But that's where that leash correction comes in handy, is if she's jumping, she's trying to pee in the house, or if you're on a walk, you can give her that leash correction and accompany it with a correction, whether that be no or if she's jumping off. Next manner we'll talk about is her chewing. And so she is now, I think, just cutting molars. I think she's lost most of her baby teeth. Oh, sorry. So chewing just has to happen. It's one of those behaviors you really can't escape from. And because of that, we train on a base of avoiding and replacing. If I can avoid giving her free access to toys, to shoes, to anything of that sort, of course that's the best way of preventing her to chew them up. However, it's not really possible in your home. There's always something that she has access to. And so if, she goes up and starts chewing on a pillow, or maybe you have a soft bed that she's chewing on, I'll tell her no, and I'll replace it with something of equal texture. So if it's something soft, I'll give her something soft, something like this toy. If it's something hard, if she's trying to chew on like a table leg, I'll give her something hard, maybe like this bully stick. The same thing if she's trying to chew on shoelaces, give her a rope. Just try and match the texture of what she's chewing on, because she's chewing based on what her mouth needs. Now, the other, I shouldn't say the biggest part of chewing is boredom. And there's 2 parts to boredom. One, it could be that maybe you're reading a book or you have a downtime, and she's just going to be laying on her bed. She may get bored and she'll go try and find something to chew on. And so instead, if I have that downtime and she's going to be laying on her bed, I'll give her like that bully stick, just something that she can chew on. And that brings up the second part of boredom, and that's boredom with her own things. And so if I were to give her that bully stick and she laid there and maybe 20 minutes goes past, she gets up and leaves the bully stick, I'm going to immediately take it away. I'm not going to give her just free access to it. Same thing with a toy. She's chewing on it and gets up and leaves, I'm just going to take it away. That way, she's not just having unlimited access to her own things. She's not going to get bored with them. There's a little bit of excitement that still remains with them. It's not like just another object laying around. And that way she's not going to get bored. She'll find something different to chew on. Good girl, huh? Good girl. Now, also one thing I do want to cover with going back to aggression. The one-time aggression sometimes is mistaken is with kids. Kids are like the greatest thing to a dog. They run, they squeal, it's just a lot of fun to chase them, and she wants to play along, she ends up grabbing a pant leg or an arm. I want to make sure that I prevent that. And so I make a rule that when kids play with my dog, they have to have a toy. What that does is, one, if they're running, they have this toy, it gives her something that she can target. She's not going to grab a pant leg because instead she's focused on the toy. Also, if the kids get a little bit nervous, she gets excited, they can just throw the toy and gives her something to go after. That way she's, once again, not going to try and jump up on him or grab a pant leg or anything like that. Good girl. Good girl. Drop it. Good girl. The next manner we'll talk about is drop it. That's what you just saw me do. She is a little bit tired right now. But she does love toys. And so it's important that we can play with her and not have her just take everything and run. And so we have taught her drop it. And what I'll do is I'll just grab it and tell her drop it. I expect her to give it up freely. I shouldn't have to try and pull it out of her mouth. But with these soft toys, I never like to pull anyway because teeth can get caught in there. And especially with a small puppy, you can end up pulling out a tooth. But also, tug, it just turns into a game of tug. And so I never want that to happen. I don't want her to just think that she can pull it away from me. Instead, I should be able to grab it and tell her, drop it, good girl, and have her just let me take it. Now it's important when I ask her, especially if it's something that she really loves, I'm just going to hold it still and ask her to drop it, and she should give it up. If she doesn't, I would just turn my knuckles in, and you just pinch your lips against her canines a little bit, causing just a little bit of discomfort. You're not trying to pull it out or jam your fingers in there. And most of the time doing that, she'll spit it out. If it's something that she really, really wants, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my thumb in her mouth and press down on her tongue. She's just going to open up as wide as she can. That's something I do a little bit with hunting dogs. The first time they get a bird in their mouth, they don't want to let it go. And so sometimes with dogs, you drop something really good on the ground you don't want her to have, and she won't let go. You can just stick your thumb right in there and press down on her tongue, and she's going to open up. Good girl, huh? Good girl. Yeah. Now the last manner, still dealing with her mouth, is gently. I want her to be very cautious when she takes food out of my hand. And so it's important, one, that you always give her food in the palm of your hand. That way she's not going to catch your fingers if you're holding it between your thumb and forefinger. As well as I'm going to keep it covered until she's completely calm. And I'll tell her gently. And I expect her to be very cautious taking food out of my hand. That way you're not going to get bit. But if she's extremely excited, I'm going to tell her that before I even present the treat. Get her thinking about it. Come here. And I would just tell her gently, good girl, and I want her to be cautious taking it out of my hand. So with that concludes our manners, and so we are going to move into our obedience commands. So the first command that we are going to talk about is watch me, and that command is just to get her eye contact. And so I'll see if I can get her to look away a little bit. Watch me. Okay, good girl. Once again, just looking for that eye contact. And that's a great command that you can practice. Just let her get used to the way that you say things. You can take one treat and break it into 4 pieces and distract her in a number of different ways. Watch me. Okay. And just look for that eye contact. Now, the reason that's so important is because it does get them to focus on you. And so it can be as simple as maybe you're cooking in the kitchen, you drop something that you don't want her to get, and you just need her to quickly look at you. Or it can be as complex as she's running out into traffic, you just need her to stop, look at you, so then you can deliver a come command. And so it is an important command that I like to keep, and I like to make sure that it is very rewarding anytime I use it. Watch me. Good girl, good girl. Sometimes with her hair I can't tell she's looking at me. But that's also can somewhat be a little bit of a backup of the next command, which is come. The come command is one that a lot of people do burn because of overuse, as well as using it when you basically know that she's not going to follow through. And so that watch me command, if you have that really positive, that she's just used to getting some type of reward every time you use it, she's going to immediately look, even if it's maybe something that she's doing that she's really enjoying. And so I do like to lead with her name when I do ask her to come to me. That way I also get her attention. And so, Mabel, come! Good girl. Now it's hard to really show that in the barn, there's not a ton of room. But anytime I ask her to, I'm going to immediately reward the behavior of coming to me. I'm not necessarily going to wait for her to sit, but I just want to make sure that I reward that behavior. Mabel, come! Good girl, okay, good girl. Now that command really is the most important one that you have. That can save a dog as well as it can save you a lot of frustration. And so it is important that you make sure that you basically preserve the integrity of that command. And when I say that, what I mean is I'd like to keep a rule of like 10 to 1. What I'll do is if you have a fenced-in backyard, go out there, let her play, she's running around, you sit there with a handful of treats and I'll call her to come. give her a treat, let her go again. So she's still getting to run and to play, but every couple minutes you're calling her to come, she's getting a treat and then getting to go again. I'll do that 9 times for the one time that you call her to come and you have to go inside. And that way there's more positive outweighing the negative of going inside. Now the overuse is, you're inside the house, she's maybe like 3 feet away and you call her to come. Just doesn't make a lot of sense to use it. So instead, if I don't have to use a command, I won't. Instead, I might, come here, something like that to get her attention. Good girl. So if I don't have to use a command, even if like I'm outside, instead I'll just go hook a leash on her and go. Or if you're going to put her in the crate or something like that, don't use that come command. Yeah. So the next couple commands do have hand signals. And so the first is sit, which sit is just a scoop over the nose, just that simple gesture right there. Down, I'll take my hand flat and go down, and then stay is a stop sign. So sit, down, and stay. So I'll get her off here, come here, and I'll show you that. Sit, good girl, down, stay. Now when I'm doing something like that down stay, where I like to have her sit first, that treat does not come until the end. And so I won't, have her sit and then give her a treat, and then have her lay down and give her a treat, and then after the stay. Instead, I'll just give her the one treat, and it will be after I release her from the stay. It's also important that you use these commands only once. Don't repetitively say things. If you sit there and stay, 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 she's just going to become reliant upon the word, and she'll break as soon as you stop saying it. Okay, good girl. Even if she hesitates, I'm going to give her time to process it and think about it instead of asking her again and again. And so with those stays, we also have a sit stay. Sit, stay. Now if she's in a sit stay, I don't care if she lays down. However, if she's in a down stay, she's never allowed to come up. She has great stays, but I would always try and improve them and build them up. Add those 3 Ds: distance, duration, distraction. Okay, good girl, okay. Gently. Good girl. Now, the next 2 commands don't necessarily have hand signals, but I'll always put myself in a position where she can read my body language. And so, for instance, the crate. Come here, Mabel. Crate. Because I'm going to stand near, I'm going to point. If she were to hesitate, maybe I'd tap on the top, maybe stick my hand in, but most of the time I should just be able to point and tell her crate. Now I do give her the reward when she goes in, because some of the time you will be closing that door and locking her up. As well as being released from the crate is a reward in itself. Okay, good girl, good girl, good girl. Now, same concept with go to bed. I'm going to get her off. And I'll just point, go to bed, which she does love her bed. And when I do send her to her bed, she is also expected to stay until released. Okay, good girl, good girl, good girl. So now with that, we are going to talk about her crate training and her house training. So the crate training, we spent a lot of time making sure that she's comfortable in the crate, she's not going to have accidents in the crate, and you can really use that as an asset. And so right now she'll sleep through the night. We put her to bed about 10, get her out between 6:30 and 7. She doesn't have to have a break in the middle of the night, she sleeps through. As well as she is good in the crate for up to 4-hour blocks during the day. With that transition that's going to be coming up, a lot of times the dogs have to go to the bathroom more frequently. And so if she does start to whine in the middle of the night, she may need to go to the bathroom. And so in that case, I'd put a leash on her, go right outside, let her go to the bathroom, and then put her away again. Make sure that if she does start to whine and you let her out to go to the bathroom, that she doesn't then get a run around and play, or it's not necessarily an enjoyable thing. It's just go to the bathroom and then come right back inside. Otherwise, she'll start whining in the crate because she wants to get out. The other thing that could happen is over the next couple days, she's getting to be with you, and so she doesn't want to go on the crate at night. She wants to stay with you, and so she'll start whining right off the bat. In that case, I would maybe cover the crate with a blanket, or maybe give her a bully stick just to help her calm down. But she has done great in the crate. Haven't had any issues, and so that's a wonderful tool for you to use. Now, with the house training. So, with the house training, I'm going to teach you how to transition the bells the same way I do. I do apologize for that interruption. One of my trainers just showed up, and so I had to pause the video. But with the house training, she does know how to ring the bell when she needs to go to the bathroom. She understands what that means, as well as we have our certain area that she goes. She's done really, really well with the house training. I've been happy with her. She hasn't had a single accident with us since she's been back. So, I'm going to teach you how to transition the bell, and then I'll talk to you a little bit about the house training, what to look for, things of that sort. So, when I transition the bell, I like to start at the very beginning, and I'll do what's called targeting the bell. And so where she's sitting here, I'm going to take a couple treats, I'll break them up real small, and I'm just looking for her to reach out and touch the bell. If I can break these. Okay, now these bells really don't ring too much. Okay, the one that I'll send with her actually will. But you can, really enforce how loud you want her to ring it during this part by not rewarding the soft hits, but waiting for her, to really hit it. Okay, good girl. Now once she's consistently ringing them out of my hands like that, I'm going to move over to the door. And I'll keep them on the same door that I'm going to take her out with. Come here. And I'll call her over and have her ring them off the door. Okay, which these bells are too short for you, huh? Which I'm going to grab a different bell real fast. I apologize. Grab the longer one. Or the shorter one, I should say. One that's more her size. But I'll have her now ring it off the door. Okay. And once she starts consistently, hitting it off the door, I'll switch up my wording just a little bit. Okay, outside. And I'll start emphasizing that outside word. Okay, outside. And now this one I'm going to take her out. Now if she hesitates like this, I'm just going to, outside, stare at the bell. Now we'll take her out. Okay, outside. Good girl. Let's go outside. Now I do expect her to wait at the doorway. Okay, good girl. Okay. Okay, once again, having her wait at the doorway. Now, if I was doing this at your house, I would turn around, have her ring the bell, outside, 3 or 4 more times, and then take her out again. And do that maybe 3 or 4 more times. Just making sure that you get a lot of repetitions with ringing the bell and actually going outside to the area where you want her to go to the bathroom. What I do when I take her out, I'll take her out on the leash, we'll go to that specific area, I'll let her sniff around, keep moving, give her maybe a minute or 2, every once in a while using the word outside. If she goes, I want it to be very positive, so I'm going to give her a treat and then I pet her, good outside, good girl, make it very, very rewarding. And then you come right back inside. She's never allowed to play or do any of that when she's going to the bathroom or outside to go to the bathroom or she rang the bell. Now, at this point, after you take her out 3 or 4 or 5 times with having her ring the bell, I would set a timer for 30 minutes. And every 30 minutes, I'm going to walk over, I'm going to stare at the bell, let her ring it, take her outside. I would do that for the next day or two. You really want to get a lot of repetitions having her ring the bell and going outside, as well as you want to stay ahead of her pee schedule. Plus, with that transition, she's going to have to go to the bathroom more frequently anyway, and so that way you're not even giving her a chance to have an accident in the first couple days. After a couple days go by, you can start lengthening that, go to 45 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. 2 hours is our standard that they should be able to hold themselves without needing a break. Of course, I know that she can go quite a bit longer, but for the next couple weeks, I would not let her go longer than 2 hours. That way you're just, once again, not giving her much of an opportunity to have an accident. The one exception to that is if she's in the crate. If she's in the crate, you don't need to pull her out and take her to the bell every 30 minutes. She's fine in there. And once again, the crate's going to be a huge asset, because the biggest thing with house training a dog is 100% supervision. You have to give that to them. If you can't, put them in the crate. If they're out, they have a leash on it, they're dragging around, and they are being supervised. And that supervision has to come from someone that is responsible. Hopefully an adult. Now, things to look for. If she gets up and she starts sniffing real heavily or doing circles, she has to go to the bathroom, so just take her over, let her ring the bell, go outside. Or if she just wakes up from a nap, or if she's eaten within the last hour, she's going to have to go. Anytime she's in the crate for more than 20 minutes, I'm going to take her out and immediately let her ring the bell and go outside, just to make sure that she's not going to have an accident, as well as you're taking advantage of those situations where she may have to go and giving her those extra repetitions. Now, I've had a lot of people that have followed these instructions and never had an accident in their home. I've had some people that have ignored these instructions and then they have issues. But she's really done wonderful. Transition the bell, she'll use it, she'll do a great job. But make sure that you give her that 100% supervision. And if you need to, block off part of your house. Baby gates are a wonderful thing. That way she doesn't get lost in a different room while maybe you were a little bit distracted. And that will just save you a lot in the long run. Now, if she does start to have an accident, one, you have to see it. If she has an accident and you don't see it, there's nothing you can do. However, if you see her start to squat, I'm going to make it a negative interaction. So I'm going to stomp and I'm clap, no, and I'm just going to grab her and rush her outside. And then if she finishes outside, I'll give her a treat, tell her good outside. That way it's really black and white. She starts peeing in the house, it's no, she's getting pulled outside as quick as she can. Whereas if she goes to the bathroom outside, it's really positive. Like I said, she's done wonderful with it. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call. But I believe that is it with the house training. Other than I would restrict her water a little bit. That would be the other thing. She's already going to have to pee more. Don't make it worse by giving her just tons of water. Instead, I'll give her water with her meals, and then maybe 3 or 4 times throughout the day. Or if she's outside for a long period of time, she has unlimited access to water. But in the house, limit it so that you don't have issues. Now we will talk just a little bit about her leash work, and then we'll go outside and I'll show you her walk and how she interacts with the leash. So we do take her on 2 types of walks. The first is a long lead or an off-leash walk. Until she's completely comfortable with you and you're comfortable with her coming back to you, I wouldn't let her off-leash, especially in a high-traffic area. But we do like to take them, out into the mountains, take her down to the lake, just let her be a dog, let her run around, enjoy life. And those types of walks are great for their mental health. And so for the first little bit, keep her on a long lead, 10, 20 feet. And every minute or two, I'll call her back to me, give her a treat, let her go again. And I do that also when she's off leash. That way I'm really working on the come command. Call her to come, give her a treat, let her go. It's really positive, as well as she's staying close and checking in. We also take her into town, up on campus, just try and get her around people and walking, making sure that she's going to be good in those situations. Good girl. When we do that type of a walk, or even when we're just taking a nice stroll out here. We use what we call as an attention walk. And during that time, I want her next to me in a basic heel, consistently checking in and not pulling. When I take her on that type of walk, I do have 2 commands. The first is let's go, just signifying I'm walking. The second would be easy if she starts to pull. But now we will walk outside and show you that walk. So when I do start a walk, I do like to have her come and sit next to me, get her attention on me, and then I'm going to tell her, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Now this is exactly what I want, this loose leash, J shape, her focusing on me. Let's go. Now, if she were to start to pull, I would stop, and you saw me do it just a minute ago, but I'll tell her easy, easy, and I expect her to put the slack back in the leash and come back to me. Good girl, good girl. Let's go. Let's go. So if she starts to pull, easy. Good girl, good girl, let's go. Like that. So, just in conclusion, just wrapping that up, I want to say thank you. And if you have any questions, please call me. And call me immediately. Let's take care of any questions or any issues that you have immediately. Mabel really is a sweet dog. She is very well mannered, very good. We've had her around kids. She's done wonderful, other animals. And so the one thing is, though, you have to develop a bond with her and make sure that she respects you as a leader. Any dog that doesn't respect you and thinks that they are the leader, you're going to have behavioral issues with. If you can establish that leadership role, she will just be phenomenal. And I've really enjoyed her. She's become one of my favorite dogs because she is so well-mannered, and she really is a sweetheart. And so I think you're going to love her. And we can't wait to hear how she does. Thank you.